about your own faith and you have a ministry. She says, I don't have a ministry. Next day, Guiding Light Ministry, Minister Gamal Ray. Yeah, and it's like, come on. You don't know anything about this stuff. You know nothing. These people have devoted their entire lives to this. But the crazy part was how many of those guys, those simps, how many of these Christians supposedly came out in defense, didn't even bother to look at the context, didn't even bother to look into it for 5 seconds. Michael Knowles was one of them. I couldn't believe it. And I put out a Twitter post refuting everything he said and explaining like, yeah, while it's true we need to forgive people and we're trying to bring them into the church, we also have to protect the people in the church from the bad elements of the perverse, right? Well, not only that, Janko, he let her all over the whatever podcast, and she lied her ass off, right? She was the one who wanted to go on.
I thought that ultimately, I did not like how inundated, and still don't, TPUSA is with feminists. It is fucking inundated with femcons. Now, I don't give a shit how many of you love TPUSA. You know for sure that it's inundated with femcons. For those of you who may not know what a femcon is, that's a feminist conservative. And it's just like once they had their women's summit bullshit and they had Nala Ray come out and all that, I was just like, fuck this. Good Lord. As TPUSA begins its reorganization, it turns out that their positions are far more based than people once thought they were. They're moving away from the ideas of Zionism and Christian Zionism. They're moving away from the ideas of feminism. Rachel says they were remarkably receptive to my input, and Alex Clark had an absolute meltdown about it. So that's how you know things are going well. I agree. You imagine Andrew Wilson being against feminism and against certain actions that political groups and organizations may take. And even imagine that Andrew then decides that he's willing to reach across to try to work with them on correcting some of those issues. My wife sat down and told him the exact same criticisms, and he was very receptive and very open to hearing out what we had to say. If it's the case that a huge political organization is willing to reach out to people who have criticisms and they're willing to take action on those criticisms, if they're in agreement with them, what the fuck else can you ask them to do? Exactly. Andrew Wilson. Imagine a guy this awesome going down, beginning to advise or work with TPUSA debaters so that they don't end up moving towards feminism, women's leadership summits, and bullshit. Imagine. Just 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 imagine.